Hello, everybody. It's me. Yeah, the podcast isn't over. I told you, just because I come doesn't mean it finishes. It's because there's so many other ways to come. Like, just because I have a womanizer that I love very much. She's my best friend. I've been coming nonstop. And yeah, it's great. But yeah, the podcast is not over. And this week, we have a really exciting one because I went to a sex party with my friend Betsy. And yeah, we're going to tell you all about it this episode on How Come.
How come? How come? How come I can't achieve? How come I can't achieve? I'm rolling up my sleeves. I'm rolling up my sleeves. Oh baby, I believe these guests can help. 'Cause I can't do it by myself. I wanna jizz.
We went to a sex party last night. We want to talk about it because it was our first time both at a sex party, and it was crazy, but not as crazy as you would think. So we are interviewing today. She's an independent publicist working with brands in sex wellness, legal cannabis, and artificial intelligence. She works with NSFW, which stands for
the New Society for Wellness.
And her name is Melissa Vitale. You guys give it up for Melissa.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. And also interviewing her with me, my guest co-host this week, is Betsy Carroll. She's a stand-up comic, and she's studying computer science at Columbia University.
Hi.
Ooh,
Hi,
another
Betsy.
boss babe.
Hey, Kitty. Thanks
Yeah.
for having me.
Boss bitch.
Boss
Two
bitch.
very smart girls. Two very sexually woke girls. Betsy actually was like the most supportive person when I came.
Yeah.
She was like crying.
I was telling strangers. It was a big deal.
Were you?
Yeah. I was like, so if I, like, telling people at school that, like, if I hadn't told them everything about it, I was like, this is the news.
This is the news.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
everyone who knows you, who knows me, was, like, really excited, too.
Yeah, no, everyone's been congratulating me, even my, like family members, like strangers.
So interesting.
It's been
I haven't even
really
asked you ever
nice.
about that. Do your parents listen to the podcast?
Yeah, they're supportive.
And they're happy for you?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I mean, it's like they're both medical people. So like
They know, yeah.
they're like, oh, this is an important thing that like you're missing out on. And it's so fucking fun. Like, I can't believe
know.
I've been missing out on this whole time.
Yeah, when I told my mom about Remy's situation, my mom's a sex therapist. She like looked like I had just told her like that like someone died. She was like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry." Like,
That's
send her
literally,
my
that's what people look like.
condolences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I never understood it. And now I do. I'm like, oh my God, you're
so awesome.
yeah. Like, not that I look down on it. Like, I just, you guys, like, you can do this. It is not impossible. Like, didn't you think that it might be?
I didn't think this ever. So consciously in my mind, I always thought, of course Remy's can do it. Of course she's going to. It's just a matter of like time and elbow grease because she doesn't have anything like wrong with her, like body wise. Like, I knew you physically could do it and it was just your brain, I thought.
Yeah.
Or something. But then when I found out the
brain
truth,
thing wasn't. Like,
it wasn't the brain. I mean, no, but in a way that is your brain because it's your brain is the one who's not telling you to tell the guy what you actually want or tell yourself what you actually want. Like, that's a brain problem.
How did I know what I want was a sex toy that sucks on your clitoris? I didn't
You
know
just,
that
like,
existed.
Yeah,
Try stuff.
experiment.
Yeah.
Try it out. A recent conversation actually made me realize that maybe I might have had orgasms as a kid. And because
Yeah.
I've always I had no idea what I was doing, but I knew it felt good. And then I would like get like really exhausted after like a great like sensation. So
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
then I guess I stopped doing that, and then I didn't have an orgasm until I had been having sex for many years at that point, and it was similar.
Was it like meeting up with an old friend that you were like, oh my God, it's you again. I miss doing this.
It was different because the sensation I felt when I was a kid was more clitoral versus like the orgasm that I felt for the first time was G-spot simulated.
Can you come like in many different ways?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, okay. So Melissa obviously does a lot of public relations, but mostly for NSFW, can you explain that to the public?
Sure. So NSFW is the New Society for Wellness and is a private members club and digital agency for like-minded millennials and vice category brands with sexual wellness, legal cannabis, a lot of festival lifestyle, entertainment, things that, you know, anything that you could have at a party or a sex party, you know, things like even water, hydration, and market it a different way. But NSFW has two main components. One is the private members club, where they do activations for both their brands and their members. Things like the event you went to last night was actually sponsored by Emoji Baiter,
Right.
which is the
Vibrators,
little vibrators that
are
look
shaped like
the
emojis.
Emojis.
Yeah.
So they have the chili pepper, they have the
Eggplant,
and they have the banana.
Yeah, they gave me a chili pepper.
Yes,
Yeah.
very good.
Yeah, no, I'm not a vibration person. I think I'm just gonna do a giveaway. Like, I haven't used it, so you guys, like, whoever tags the most people on the Emoji Baiter Instagram post, I'm gonna send you the one that I got from the party for free.
Or you can have someone from Emoji Baiter on, and they can give away more to your audience members.
Yeah, that would be sick.
Doing a little work while on
Yeah, always. Yeah, so last night I was invited because I was actually performing. So this party, like, what I thought was a sex party is so different from what actually happened last night.
A lot of NSFW's events are private members events they have close to 800 members now. All of these events are not specifically meant for everyone who's walking the door is going to be leaving having sex.
Right.
But it's more like when you go to a party and rather than taking someone home, there's a little cuddle den, or there's the downstairs dungeon, or there's something that's designated for play. And then there's also the attitude of, everyone is aware of what, the boundaries of consent, enthusiastic consent are. So even if you go and you're not expecting to engage in any type of intimacy or sexual play or anything, you're still prepared for if it does happen, what to do it, by our community standards as well.
Yeah, like, so last night was a comedy show that was held at a sex party, essentially. So it was me and a lot of other comics on the lineup, Chrissy Mayer, Jess Tom, great sex positive comics. I invited Betsy because, like, she is so sex positive and has been so stoked for me.
Yeah. I was so excited, because I really wanted to go to a party like this one day, and I always felt like the safest, like the only way I'd really want to do it is with like a friend who I'm like comfortable with. And it was like a dream, because I was like, oh my god, Remy's the perfect friend to go with, because I feel like
we're both like little weird, like, pervert
we're both
kids
pervy,
that
and we
just
were like
wanna,
aware of it,
yeah,
and not in a way that's judgy of each other. Like other friends, I would be like weird to like sit on the thing.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about that.
later.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it pervy. I would just call it sex positive.
That's what I mean. It's
no, but I just
sex positive.
like, I feel like throughout, like, it's just kind of an awakening that, oh, everyone's just kind of this like little perv-tastic kid that they've always been.
Just thinking of it as a valid as an active pursuit, not just like a thing. Like I feel like you do that, especially like in light of the podcast. Like it's not like something that you just that happens in your life. You're like making an effort about like your sex life.
Yeah,
that's
like
really
important to me.
Yeah,
yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Well, that's how I got involved with NSFW. Was I, watched like anything that was even close to like portrayed sex life in a city specifically. Was like that was like the dream I always wanted. Was just like to have a sex positive life, but I was like, no, people don't actually do this and be successful. And then through just like a series of fates, I met Daniel, the founder of NSFW, and his boyfriend Adam, and they told me about NSFW when it was still like being workshopped, like with Daniel's close network. And I was like, something like this exists? Are you serious? I want to be a member. I want to be involved. I want to do everything. And Daniel took it public where he was starting to offer events or general membership opportunities for everyone, not just through networking. And that was right when I was starting my own PR company, and I was like, let's work together.
Yeah.
And it's been a fantastic ride, and I still, every time I'm like, I can't believe something like this actually exists.
Yeah. And it's like, so okay, I think we should just like go through the night. So like,
I want to hear.
Yeah,
I actually wasn't
she
there
wasn't
last
there.
night.
Yeah, but I'm excited to tell you about it.
This is our side.
This is our side of the story.
So first of all, like I was picturing it like eyes wide shut. Like I was picturing like something in a way that's kind of scary because of like just the level of confidence that I figured it would require to be someone who could do what I was picturing there. Like,
well, I also think of NSFW as kind of like Raya for sex parties.
yeah.
Like Raya is like an exclusive dating app that like, it's like only like
Invites.
Celebrities and like you have to be an influencer. Like, would you say that's kind of on target?
So NSFW does have like a membership process, but it's not like, I've heard that there's some play and kink communities that are incredibly exclusive where it's like you have to have a 6-pack. You
No,
have to have
yeah.
this size weight. You know, it's like, and NSFW doesn't vet members like that. We were just looking for people who are going to kind of click with all of our members. So people who are traveling, working hard, you know, a lot of really successful people are within NSFW. A lot of members use it as a
I recognized
networking
a lot of them were
opportunity.
like smart.
Mm-hmm.
Like we met a guy who's like in tech.
Yeah.
Yes, everyone is really enterprising.
Yeah, everyone's like went to great colleges, and you know, it was just like a normal party that was like, oh, this is an upscale networking event where like
Everyone's incredibly sexy and people are really well dressed.
And people are really like
Nice.
friendly and
Yeah.
welcoming. That's the thing that was my favorite thing about it. It was like, oh, I thought that the type of person who would go to this was like a scary, overconfident 6-pack weirdo. And then it's actually, no, it's like, it's an outgoing person who with an open heart is like the vibe.
You know, I've always been told that success is like you have one wife and like you don't smoke weed and you don't do anything like that. And all of a sudden I'm meeting all these incredibly successful people who make their sexual enlightenment and incorporate like legal cannabis, or well, I guess in New York maybe not so legal cannabis, into their everyday lives. And they're incredibly successful, not just in spite of it, but also because of it. And it kind of turned on my head, like my idea of what I thought success was. And I feel like this community that I feel so welcomed by.
Yeah.
And when I come home from the holidays, it's like, when I go to my family, it's like I have to like put on like a show, and it's like I like curb certain things, but then I come home and I come home like right after I'm coming back. I always like stop at the clubhouse on the way back from
that's nice.
like my family's house, because I'm always like usually have a lot of food that like I'm not gonna be able to eat myself, so I'm like, people eat this. I need to like smoke and like just like vent about how shitty my family. I mean, my family's great, but also sometimes.
Are they accepting of your career and choices and all
Well,
that stuff?
everyone, my dad is, I mean, so I was telling him how there was potentially going to be a clip of me in the Sunday paper, and he's like, oh great, I'm going to frame it. I go, well, I'm going to talking about sex, so maybe not. He goes, probably not going to frame it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, everything else, he's like, you're doing a great job, and this is like, you know, no one else in my family owns a business, and I'm like the first female business owner of the family, first business owner of the family, I guess. And so he's really proud of that. Some of my family is like, they see this stuff on Facebook and they're like, oh, I'm embarrassed by you sharing something about. And I think it's so important for women to be empowered sexually. And like, that's like our first step for female empowerment is going to be us like claiming our sexuality and just like more of us wanting to orgasm and like making sure our orgasm is at like the forefront of our minds.
We were talking about that last night.
It's not and so I think it's really important. I think it's going to help prevent a lot of the problems with Me Too and behind the Me Too movement. I think it's really important, especially as someone who has survived sexual assaults, and I'm not really open with my family about that,
right?
But like I'm open with my younger cousins now that they're going to college,
because you're like, have to watch
I was like,
out.
let me tell you, and I was like, I mean, I fought so bad, like so hard, that it was just an assault. It wasn't anything else. So I'm like very proud of that, and so I'm like empowered, like in spite of that. So it's something that I'm passionate about, not just for myself, but for women. Like and it has like wider implications. Like once the developed countries finally have like a real semblance of equality, that's when we'll be able to
spread it around the world. Yeah.
And so that's where it comes down to, like, when it comes back to my family, it's like, yes, if they can be like, you know, not proud of it, but I personally think it's really important.
Yeah.
And my younger cousins, they believe that as well.
Yeah.
So I've started, and it's almost kind of like toxic femininity. I'm like, I now have the viewpoint of I think of orgasms like opinions, where mine is the most important. I don't really care if you have one.
Yeah.
Right? and not really, not truly, but also.
But I'm sure it took a long time to get to that.
Oh, absolutely.
Place. Yeah.
But because if I don't put my orgasm first, no one else will.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think that also, like, implicitly the patriarchy understands how important the female like orgasm is to empowerment. That's really what the issue is with abortion and birth control. Like, let's make it difficult for women to like have a free sex life, because that's a way to like control them and keep them from their identity. That's why female circumcision happens in like cultures that are all about suppressing women. They're like, okay, if we take away this like very like fundamental like human right, then and like we're
It's
really taking
also
away a lot.
Just the
And
human
that's-
right of having that huge stress release.
Oh my goodness.
Like it's such like a
It's
you
a
know, like you
motivator.
guys, I have to just say I know I said I was in love with the womanizer. I'm just, it is the most amazing thing. And I feel obviously like I'm a little 13-year-old boy that just discovered jacking off because that's how I feel. But like, I get it. It's just like, if you had a tough day, jack off. And if you had a fight with somebody, jack off. If you're just feeling great,
if
jack
you think
off.
about like evolution, there are reasons that, like there are a few things that drive us, like to eat and to procreate and like not die. That's the whole point of it. So like the sex drive
Just,
is
like,
strong.
feel good, yeah.
So if you have, if in some way that's like taken away from you because, for instance, you don't like feel motivated by the potential of an orgasm, that's taking away a lot. It's taking away like kind of the meaning of life,
liberty, and the pursuit of orgasm.
I think that's it.
We need to go to.
we need
So
to
Betsy's
change
actually.
it on Ellis Island. That's what it needs to say.
You're
at
going
the
to
Statue of
DC
Liberty.
tomorrow
I
for
am.
the
gun march.
The gun march against guns.
Maybe I'll have to rewrite
or
my poster
for gun
now.
reform.
It said life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Having an
Yeah,
orgasm.
now I'll change it.
Yeah. So just
You should put some glitter on it. A lot of glitter.
I mean, yeah, I could put glitter on it for sure. I mean,
Glitter everywhere.
such a good idea.
Question.
Yeah.
Did you get a shot club last night?
Yeah. Let's get back to the night.
Right.
So I mean,
Well, also,
I
can we
was
talk about like just how we came in?
Yeah. Okay. So we thought it was going to be very intimidating given
Yeah.
all these people are so cool and stuff, but they were cool and they were nice. We're having drinks and the space is like really conducive to hanging because like everyone takes off your shoes. There's like pillows and nobody's saying like go lay down, but there's mattresses and everything's draped nicely and it's dim and there's cool music pulsating.
Oh, and it was also cool. There was an all black dress code.
Yep.
Which just gave it a nice kind of, I don't know, like a team
like a
feeling.
team,
I
yeah.
didn't think of that in advance, but I think that was a smart touch.
It's really smart.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, then we had drinks.
Very friendly. It was the first party I've been to in months where everyone introduces themselves in a genuine, like interested, kind way.
And then they were like, all right, guys, it's time for the show. And everyone went and like sat down. Like it was like camp almost, like sat down on the cushions
cute.
and like congregated. And like it was like 5 comedians that performed. Like I was one of them and it was,
She did an amazing job.
thank you. I did too much Jew stuff, not enough sex stuff. I don't know why. I don't know where. I was like, oh, you guys, I'm so sorry. I'm supposed to be talking
For
about
me, they're one
boners.
and the same.
Yeah. Your current boyfriend, Jew?
He's not actually.
Okay.
Like first for maybe a long time. Yeah. I mean, I haven't asked him if he's willing to convert. I'll bring it up soon.
Yeah, you should. Oh no, wait. They're also my friend from high school was there.
Oh,
Who
yeah.
like is a bridesmaid with me in a wedding coming up. Like she was like, she kind of texted me before being like, oh yeah, I'm a member of NSFW, like I'm gonna come to the show. And I was like, what? Oh, cool. And like I always knew that she was like a sexy girl, but like I don't know, I wasn't like, wow, she's a member of a sex club.
Yeah.
So she was there and she was like, oh, that was great. I've never seen you perform. And I was like, awesome. And then, yeah, a lot of people just like left because they just came for the show. And like that,
Still a good amount of people there.
still a great amount of
Yeah.
people. But like it was a genuine like
House party hang.
event for a show.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, then the people who were still hanging, we smoked some weed.
We were just like really chatting it up. It's not like a party where you would go to the corner or talk to the people you know. It was like, I barely saw you. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was fun. Betsy
For a long
made a
time.
friend actually who was like a very chivalrous guy. We were talking to him before the show and he was like, did you guys come here like for the, are you members? And I was like, no, I came here to perform, but like I'm really interested in seeing somebody bang and like Betsy wants to see someone bang too.
Yeah. We were, and he was like, he like thought that it might not happen and that we were going to be disappointed. So like in a weirdly chivalrous move, he was like, I'm texting girls. I'm trying to get someone here.
Yeah,
That
he's like,
we
he's
can-
like, you
that I
guys
can
don't
have
want to have
sex
sex with anyone. We were like, no, we have boyfriends. And he's like, okay, yeah, I'll text somebody.
I'll
like,
take someone.
yeah,
I'll get
okay.
them here if that's what you guys came here for. Like, we'll make sure.
I like feel like I know exactly who that is.
Wait, really?
There's like maximum 3 people who that could be.
That's so funny. Yeah, so he was just like, oh, like I'll do that for you guys. And we were like, oh, that's so nice. And he was like, okay, so there's one girl texting me like, do you guys usually have sex on your periods?
Oh, that was no. He actually said something different, and it was disturbing to me. He said, "This girl, I'm texting, but she has her period, so like obviously she can't have sex." And I was like, obviously she can't have sex, or maybe not like at a sex party. Maybe she's not comfortable, but like
I think
you have sex with girls.
No,
on your
but
period,
I think
right?
that's what he meant. Maybe.
No, he said he talked about it more with me. He said he's never, and he never does. He doesn't have sex with girls on their period, not because he is against it, but because
they're
he thinks that they're uncomfortable. And I was like, I feel like if every girl you've had sex with is like that, like that's so specific of a type of girl.
Yeah.
And a type of guy.
Or I don't know. I think a lot of girls.
Oh, really? Okay.
I know a lot
I'm
of
the weird
women who are against having sex on their period because they feel like they're gross and they feel like it's their time where they can't have sex and they're like conditioned to feel that way. I'm like, actually, I think some of the best orgasms you'll have are on your period and when you are.
Also, it's like a week of the month, possibly. That's like a fourth of your time.
It's a fourth of your time.
Like, what are you doing?
That's a fourth of your time. And also, every time I've had really bad cramps, and I
yeah,
have an
that gets rid of
orgasm.
them. That's the same.
Cramps
Yeah.
be gone, and all of a sudden it's like.
You're supposed to do that. I like read that somewhere.
The constant like male thing is like when a woman is bitchy, they're like, "What are you on your period?" And it's like, I think men need to take women's like periods as like a responsibility because
To like bang them.
every man. No.
You know what I mean?
It's like one of those things. It's like we have to. Every month, like we have to go through this. Like we don't get to escape it. So it's like unfortunate for the man that's like, especially men we're with, like dating. It's like we have cramps and like you can massage us and like we have cravings. You can bring us home cupcakes on the way home from work.
Yeah.
It's not hard.
I feel like
little things.
No,
like,
and girls. I mean, I was saying this to him last night. I was like, girls are, I think, horniest on their periods, like because
Yeah.
your boobs are all
like,
swollen. Like, just massage our boobs. Like,
I can literally have sex
Give
with
us a
3 men
massage
and
from
eat, like
the
3
inside.
cheeseburgers on my period at the same time. Like that's all I want.
yeah.
Oh, here's one feminist topic about the period. Imagine if guys had periods. Like, there are urinals. Urinals are a machine that's made just so a guy can pee in it, like standing up. Like, you could do
Yeah.
that in a toilet. Imagine if guys had periods. There would be like tampon inserting machines. Like, every bathroom would have tampons.
Yeah.
That's the truth. Like, I can't believe it that we don't have the way we have toilet paper. There should be tampons.
Yeah.
That's crazy that there's not. Girls
No,
have
it's
to
true.
go through the indignity of carrying tampons around. Imagine
And they're
if we had to carry
taxed
around
so
toilet paper.
hard.
I'm sure that if
My
guys
God.
didn't, you know how guys like they just shake their dick, they don't like wipe their dick.
Yeah.
I bet if guys didn't wipe their ass, like we wouldn't even have toilet paper, and women would all carry around toilet paper.
Oh my God,
in
that
their
is
purses.
such a good point.
You're absolutely correct.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
absolutely correct.
And like that's how crazy it is that we carry around tampons.
Yeah.
We shouldn't.
Oh my God,
Yeah,
that is.
They should just be in every bathroom.
Yeah, great point. All right, so then Betsy and I are running around this party after the show has concluded. There was a sex doll in the corner, and
yeah.
I honked her boob.
was just one?
There was just one.
Okay.
And I had been staring at her all night because I've been dying to touch
Beautiful.
one. Like, I've read a lot about sex dolls, and like
I didn't even like register it. I really didn't register the sex doll like as a sex doll. It's just like, oh, there's that girl. Oh wait, no, that's a fake girl. Like I never thought to go touch it. And I'm really regretting it.
You never touched her.
I never touched it. I just saw it and was like, oh, that's that
Oh,
girl. No, it's a fake
shit.
girl. It's a sex doll.
Okay,
But I didn't like think about it.
Yeah, like I literally on stage was like, you guys, I have to take a moment in my set and just pinch this doll.
Yeah.
Like I need to touch. It's a very cool feeling. And yeah, so I stuck my fingers in her mouth. I stuck them up her.
Oh, you
Was
gotta-
it
vag.
you gotta-
realistic?
It's not it's realistic enough to the point that me and Chrissy Mayer, we were doing it together. We were really harassing this doll. I even punched her in the face because I was
Oh my
like, I've
God.
never punched a person in the face.
Wow, that must feel like something.
And I've
yeah.
never fingered a girl, so I was just like, oh, I'm gonna finger this doll or whatever. And I had my finger in her butt and I was like, I understand why men harass women now. Like, we are fun to play with.
Wow. Shots fired.
Shots fired.
You heard it here first.
Lola Jean, who was on episode 5, she was at the party
Of course.
and she was like, what were you doing over there with that doll? And I was like, I punched her in the face. And she was like, I think a lot of people punch sex dolls in the face. Like,
Yeah.
she's like, sex dolls get a lot of abuse because people just take out.
I think that's like the points of like why some people suggest them for therapy is the idea of being able to get out like illegal sexual fantasies on something that I've worked with those dolls so many times. I've like carried them around that house and I wanted to punch them, but I've never punched them. So I'm a little like baffled that someone actually punched these like $1,000 dolls, but
I'm so sorry.
it's okay.
Oh my God.
we won't say the brand and hopefully like they won't.
Oh no. So then we went downstairs because we were like,
Oh, yeah.
we want to see people bang and stuff.
And at this point, people were actually like making out. So it's like,
not yet.
making out upstairs. Someone was making out on the couch.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but it was like,
Okay.
it literally reminded me. So this is what I started to realize throughout the night. It was just like what you were saying. It's like a party where you would, instead of going home with someone, hook up with them there. That's literally high school. Because in
That's
high school,
literally
you don't
high
have a
school.
place to take the girl or the guy. So you just kind of remember in high school, people would be like, there's a bedroom, couple couples are going to have to go in here. Like something might happen. Like I feel like that's what it was like. It was reminding me of a high school house party where like,
or even in college, like
Yeah.
you'd like wake up and like someone was fucking next to you and you'd just be like, all right.
yeah, it was like, to me, it had that like cute
Fucking up
nostalgia of
against
like
you. Yeah.
high school, like where there's makeouts going on all around, but it wasn't like it wasn't like what I pictured. I pictured more like an intentional like
I
orgy,
pictured,
not
like,
a side
18
effect of socializing. We're gonna hook up.
Yeah,
you know?
I pictured like women like tied up against the wall and like people like whipping people and whatever. And it, like
I
was
just pictured
not
it just
like
much
that.
more top down and organized. Like, you know what I mean? Like I pictured it less organic and less like a side effect of just natural socializing. I pictured it more like, this is the room where it's all about paddles or something. Like I pictured it being much more like, which is weird.
No, it's not. It's really, essentially, it's not branded or labeled a sex party. It's a sexy party where
totally.
sex can happen, and everyone comes with different expectations and fantasies, but with like in like the same guidelines. So as one of our goddesses says, when you have like you create like boundaries, and it's like that you can play within. So when you have enthusiastic consent in place and guardians in place to keep that keep everyone safe, a lot of things can happen, and it really just depends on the crowd and the night and where things take you.
How do you define enthusiastic consent?
Enthusiastic consent is if it's not a fuck
Passive.
yes, it's a fuck no.
Okay.
And it's essentially and it can be like a, there's it's turning the method off of implied consent, which is essentially going until you hear a no,
Yeah.
Right.
to only going once you hear a
Well,
yes.
people actually got mad at me because so we went downstairs and there was just people like it's called the dungeon, and I was expecting like 50 Shades of Grey at least, like
describe
leather.
the dungeon. I want to hear what
The dungeon is like beautiful, like it's
So
like
pretty.
little mattresses and like it's almost like
a hookah bar.
A hookah bar, yeah. It's like it's pretty, and then
Yeah.
there's a spanking bench in the corner.
Which is also very beautiful. I was struck
Very
by the
yeah.
beauty of the
There was
sex
like
furniture.
nice artist, yeah.
It was
Everything's
like
like
wooden
really,
and like iron like craftsmanship.
Yeah.
It was good.
it was nice, and
I would like have that in my dining room.
totally.
Put a painting on it.
So a
when
lot
it's
of
not
people were
used.
just like, paired off, talking on mattresses and stuff, and just like chatting. And then there was a bunch of us at the what's it called?
What is it called?
Yeah,
Which one, the spanking bench
It's a
or
thing
the
that's
spreader?
like
spanking bench.
Is it a spreader?
Or is it the spreader
It
bench?
is. It's like a reverse like gynecologist. It's like where you like
you
kinda
put your
legs
you
in
put
it.
it.
your
Has the cross
stomach.
back?
No, you
No.
put your stomach on.
No, or it's just a bench.
It's just a-
because there's a St. Andrew's cross, which is a large cross.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
saw
we
that
saw
There's
that
a
upstairs.
spanking bench, which literally just looks like a prayer bench.
This didn't look like that. We
No,
that was
that's
the
what's
we were on.
upstairs.
Yeah.
yeah.
And then there is a spreader bench.
That's what it was.
Okay, so there's a
Okay,
spreader
yeah.
bench.
So you kind of spread your legs, and there's like 2 stirrups for your knees. Yeah, and then you put your stomach on, and all of like you have to remember there's like 5 of us comedians, 6 including Betsy. She didn't
I
perform,
wasn't performing.
but she was with me, and so like we're just giggling and like punching sex dolls in the face and like being like, oh, we need to try everything.
bit
and
after bit after bit, just between the
You always have to
6
be
of
on.
you.
but we're like, oh, let's try it, let's do the spanking, why not? So Chrissy Mayer gets on the bench and she can take a spanking. Like there's all these paddles laid out for you, paddles, floggers, whips, a little
was
devil's tail, I don't know, you can probably name more of them, but people were just going one by one and hitting her. And so she was saying numbers. She was like, okay, 6, 7,
Yes.
8 or whatever. And like, whatever. And then everyone was like, Remy, get on. Cause I was using my nice tennis stroke and I hit her so hard. And they were like, all right, now you have to get on like as like reciprocity. And I was like, no, I really don't want to. Like, I'm like, afraid. By the way, all of our clothes are on. Like, don't think anybody's getting crazy.
Right, no one's like naked getting
No.
all these spankings.
No, we're fully clothed. And so I got on the bench and someone hit me and I was like, ow. And then someone else hit me and I was like, ow. And then someone else hit me and I was like, oh my God, that hurts too much. And they were like, well, you have to say numbers. Like, you're just saying ow. Like, we don't know. Like,
so within like the common process and within like the BDSM and kink community is you give your number of what it is. And like, so when someone first starts spanking you maybe give them a baseline and say, okay, this was a 5 or a 6, and I don't want to go be above an 8 or a 9 or whatever your pain tolerance is.
Okay. See, I was like, what do you mean? Like,
so yeah, so there's
like
a scale
calibrating
because everyone is different.
Yeah.
And so a huge miscalculation about the BDSM community is that the Dom has all the control. It's actually the submissive.
Right, totally.
Who
I
has
get
all
that.
the control from everything, from setting the scene, setting the expectations, setting what they can tolerate.
Because they're the one who's allowing it to happen.
Exactly. And so rather than saying ow, because sometimes part of the fantasy is someone who maybe is controlling the pain and you have no control. The universal one is green, red, and yellow. Well, Daniel and NSFW has a huge bit about how to ask for sex, and it's changing like how we talk about sex and consent, and how, again, when we focus on implied consent, which is go until
They
you
say
hear the word
stop.
no.
Yeah.
You're not focusing on pleasure. You're focusing on an act of, which doesn't always.
how much can I do to this person?
Yeah, it doesn't
until-
always lead to pleasure on like both parties' end, and that's like where all of our problems start. So,
Right, because it's also just sort of by even just doing that as like by having that be your paradigm, it's about me like guessing all the different things I could do, and then you telling me what are the things I can't do. It's not you telling me what you should do, what I want you to do.
What feels good,
yeah,
what I want, what is pleasurable. Absolutely, yeah. There's a lot about sex education that we need to change. But so you are on the bench.
Oh
you
yeah,
hit
so
your
I was
ow.
so I hit my ow.
So now you know,
and that was
say
what was
red.
cool about like the party versus like, I've always read about BDSM stuff. I haven't tried it ever with a partner, but I think it's because there's like this unsafety like without like a professional, and so it was nice having people who you knew like were very informed, and people who were like, hey Remy, you need to say numbers if you're going to be doing this or whatever, like even as a joke, like we don't want to be hurting anyone here, like it was just like nice. So then we were like, okay, this was so much fun, let's go back upstairs. We saw people making out in the corner and stuff, and it was like,
I felt like stuff was getting going down there.
Yeah.
We were like totally involved in our own thing. We weren't even noticing that like things had heated up, I think, and people were getting into it. That's
what happens with a lot of NSFW events, is that everything kind of unfolds throughout the night. So you'll never walk into an NSFW event, the way you might have, like a CD swingers club, and see people just like fucking on the stairway or anything.
Right.
Like that doesn't happen.
No.
Rather, you're going to be seeing, everything is like a very kind of cool, swanky, club-like atmosphere, and then kind of tucked away in the corners and in the dungeon. That's where, all of a sudden you'll hear like, oh wait, that moaning is not part of the music. That's actually someone moaning. Okay.
Right.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, no, there was nobody having sex and nobody moaning, but they were like definitely
Getting
making
started,
out
yeah.
and like,
Or just getting into,
there was like
like,
people dry
making out.
humping. It was literally high school. It was
It was
amazing.
like that, yeah.
I loved it. And then so Betsy
What time
and
did you leave?
wait.
Oh.
So we're not done.
Yeah, we had something fun, yeah.
Yeah. No, so then we were like all set to go. We were like, we should just like, head out. Maybe like this is like the tip of the iceberg. And Betsy and I are putting on our coats in the coat room, and then we see these two motor bunnies. For those of you who do not know what motor bunny is, Melissa, would you like to explain?
Yeah, it's a ride-on saddle. So it's a vibrating ride-on saddle, and Motor Bunny actually goes all the way up to 11. So
Oh my gosh.
it's not up to 10. It goes up to 11, and it has different settings, and you can twirl it, and there's different extensions. So there's a clitoral one. I think they were probably set up for just like the clitoral ones. Yes, obviously.
So there's like a vibrating like little bump.
I personally think they will change, or they will like make men non-existent. As we know
I
them.
was saying that too.
So when, say you go out with your guy and you're feeling all sexy and you start drinking a lot, and all of a sudden you go home and you're like, all right, I'm ready to ride you.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I just drank a lot. I'm not like, I'm ready to go to bed. It's like, you go to bed, I'm going to turn the saddle on, and then and then you're done. And that's perfect.
Yeah. So there's the little there's an extension for like dildos and stuff that
different sizes, different
Yeah.
shapes, different textures as well.
those
Yeah.
weren't set up. But
No,
no,
we
there
weren't.
was
It's
the
just like a little
humps.
nub. It's like riding a horse, except with the little nub that vibrates on
Yeah,
your
that like
clit.
sits on
Yeah.
your clit. So I start like playing with the thing because I'd heard of them. I was on one of the other comics, Alan Fuchs or Fucks. Yeah, he has the Weekend Sex podcast, and I went on his before I had come, and he did a Kickstarter campaign to get me a Sibian because he
Yeah.
thought that would be, and so that's a different brand, but essentially another. And I was like, oh my God, I need to try this. And I tried to play with it and it was off. And I was like, oh shit. And I was like, Betsy, try to get it working because she's like in computer science and shit. And I was like, you could do anything.
I'm a hacker.
She couldn't do it.
No, I couldn't.
And I was like, wait, why am I doing this? Let me run and get Daniel.
That's like the whole part where the agency and the private members club melds is all these people who might not have had access to see or try out a ride-on saddle and now have the exposure of seeing
Yeah, like I'm not gonna go buy one. They're so fucking expensive. That's
But-
why they started
but
a
some
fucking
people-
Kickstarter for me.
some people want to buy them but like how do you know you want to buy $1,000 something unless you try it?
Exactly.
So it's like it's a the people who ride it, maybe 90% of them are never going to want to buy one of these. But for the 10% of members who want to try one or buy one, we also usually have a discount code for them to do so.
That's amazing. Yeah, I think Betsy's probably going to utilize that.
I I wouldn't even buy one because I feel like I'm like, oh, like my mind is my horse. Like, I don't know.
Ooh.
Like I wouldn't.
Ooh.
I mean, no, that's not like I'm not like I mean, I don't know. I thought it was a cool novelty, but I honestly don't think I would use it much. It's like when you buy like a foot massager from Sharper Image.
Yeah.
Like, are you really gonna remember to even do it, or are your like feet fine?
My siblings and I all put in 1 year for my dad for a massage chair. He never used it once.
Yeah, I feel like maybe like it would be maybe when like views on it change and it becomes like a normal piece of furniture. Like, but like I think I would not use it if I bought one.
Yeah, but some people use their treadmills. And,
That's true. I'm just not one of those people.
Totally. No, I use it for like hanging a shirt.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is where my laundry goes. Yeah, so we saw those. We were like, Daniel, could you turn these on? He's like, oh, certainly. And like comes in, hooks it up. And Betsy and I are like, are we really like, again, fully clothed. But so we were just like, we need to try these out. And Betsy got on first.
No, you got on first. I was
Did I?
controlling your panel for you. That was very interesting to me. And clearly
Oh.
made no impression on you.
Well, that is the thing is vibration doesn't do it for me. I
Yeah,
turned
it
it
really
all the
didn't.
way up to 11.
I was like, I thought we were doing some like cool like friendship like sexercise because I was like, I'm controlling your knob for you, and I know that this takes a lot of trust. Like,
Yeah.
I thought you were getting really horned up, and I was like, okay, I'm turning it to 1. Is this okay? And she was like, I don't even know what you're talking about. And then like I was like trying to eke it up to like 11 slowly, and then I like didn't even get close to 11. I was like at 5, and then I was like, I'm gonna get on this one. And I
Yeah.
handed it to you, and she just like cranks it up to 11, and is like, that's something now. And I like go on, and I'm like on 1, and I'm like, this is crazy.
yeah.
Like,
Then Betsy was
I had to
like,
get off
she's
again.
like, oh my God, this is crazy. And I was like, keep going.
Yeah.
Like, and that was great too, as Daniel was sitting there and he was like, yeah, ride the thing. And like really like coaching her
He was
through
just
it.
trying to coach me through it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, Betsy, are you going to come? And she was like, almost.
I like almost was going to, but I just knew I have a thing in my mind where it's like very easy for me, but there's a mental like
Yeah.
emotional
you just
like
didn't wanna
safeguard.
do it.
Right,
No.
exactly. But like I knew that I don't know.
You could have.
Definitely could have, but definitely was like I don't know. I definitely saw the physiological benefits of this apparatus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was cool just even to get to that point, like, like as like friends. It was like a little like sleepover. Like
I found it
us
very
just, like-
bonding.
yeah.
And I was like, wow, that's also, you're probably like the only friend I would like be comfortable doing that with. Like, just because I don't think my friends are comfortable. But I would like do that with any other, like
You
my
would.
other little girlfriends. Yeah. And they'd be like, Betsy, like you're fetishizing us again. Stop. And I'd be like, it's fine. I picture you when I read my romance novels.
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that was really fun. And then we went back downstairs just to like catch up and see who was doing stuff. Girl had her shirt off. And then Betsy and I realized that we had talked a really big game and that we weren't down to watch people fuck.
Yeah.
Like, we're like,
we just felt bad, or at least
like,
I
felt like I wasn't
to be doing that.
contributing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I was like, what am I doing? I'm just gonna
It's
sit
like
here
going
and
to the gym
perv out.
to watch people work out.
Yeah,
like,
what are
what's
you
wrong with
doing?
you? Like, work out or don't like just stare at them. You know? But like that was my whole like goal, was that I wanted to.
Yeah, and at what part did you see? Did you see any P&V action, or did you?
No, I didn't.
No, didn't see any like P and V. I feel like I just like
I think we left at like 1 anyway. I feel like it kept going.
people
much
were like
later.
getting like more amped up as we were like leaving, because we felt like we were being
like leery.
Yeah, not even. I feel like if you were leery and people like want you to be, then that's fine.
Yeah,
I just felt like I wasn't really. Felt like I was being like a non-contributor.
Yeah.
Like they weren't like caring
like those
that
people
we were
that just
leering.
watch people's stories on Instagram and like
Right.
never post.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to be that person.
You got to contribute to society.
Yeah, you
This
got to
is-
contribute.
No, I've been guilty of like just sitting in the corner and like smoking a joint with like 1 or 2 other people, just chatting and watching like the sexiness evolve around me. There's like a general consensus where if someone kind of wanted a more intimate moment, they would ask for it. So like if you went and plopped yourself right down to a couple who was having sex, they would likely ask, for, a little more like maybe like 5 feet of distance or a little more space or anything. But if you're, being respectful with the other couples, usually it's, and as long as they're okay with it, if you didn't want to be watched, you shouldn't have sex.
Cool.
I personally, I mean, I know my boyfriend's not down, but I would be down to, hook up at a party, like
I was thinking about that. And would I
something
be,
like that. Like it was like nice. And I would feel like I was contributing to the community.
right, if you were there doing it.
Yeah.
I was thinking that I would be down to do that, and I'm not even speaking about like.
But
my-
again, I could be talking big game, just
Right.
the way that I was like, oh, I'll watch.
I'm just like trying to think of all the guys I've dated and like take a survey on like if I would do that with them or if they would do that. And I think most of them are like would be down for the sexual aspect, but like the emotional labor of the socializing that goes into the party would be like, oh, but like then we're gonna have to make small talk. Ugh. Like there was a lot of like emotional like labor in terms of, not in a bad way. I just mean like it wasn't like you go there and like bone. It was like it was like a lot of mental foreplay of talking.
Yeah.
That's a whole. It was a real party where sex happened. So it's basically like you'd have to find a guy who's willing to go to a party and talk to people.
Yeah.
And I've heard a lot of things about like CD swinger clubs where like they walk in and the couple like it was so awkward that the only thing they wanted to do is like they literally just like fucked and then left.
Yeah.
Because it was just like there was none of that like party aspect.
Right. This is different.
By like the end of the night, everyone is friends.
Yeah. No, it was really nice. Like everyone's like, "Oh, hey, nice to meet you. Hi, why are you here?"
And this probably like goes without saying like to you, Melissa, because you're like experienced in this world. But like before the party, I told Remy I was like a little bit nervous about just like the sexuality level of people, and I'm like a very sexually comfortable person, but I was like just like nervous in a way like where as if I was going to like a party where there's going to be a lot of horny guys. Like it could be a little scary, and then it's like, oh, it's actually the safest party you could go to.
Yeah.
Did you feel really beautiful?
I felt like
I
beautiful,
did,
but I
yeah.
actually felt more like less objectified than I felt at a party.
Right.
So,
Beautiful,
Like
not hot.
talking wise, like no one was like making anyone uncomfortable. No one.
No.
It would be very like uncomfortable if a guy were like inappropriately hitting on someone there.
No. Everyone is
Wouldn't happen.
the first. No, I mean, back in the
What
day.
was your
but, like,
first time like?
It was very similar. I had no idea what was gonna like. I really had no idea what to expect. I had one person who brought me as their date, and just it was basically like kind of like my buffer for because I didn't know anyone.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time I walked out, I've never felt more beautiful or more welcomed in my life.
That's
and
so
special.
I was like, okay, I can fuck with this.
Yeah.
Quite literally.
Yeah.
And I had no expectations. I was like, I left it on the table that maybe I might not want to be intimate with anyone that night, but just like the way of the event just swept me away. So then so that was the first one before it went public, and so like it was like kind of the dry run for when it did.
How many people were there?
I'm not good with numbers because I always say like 150, and Daniel's like, Melissa, there was like 80 people there, so I'm not a good judge of
But it was like a crowded spot.
It was quite crowded. Yeah, we take over 4 stories of the townhome. So the one you went to last night only had two
Yeah.
stories open, but typically for the play events, there's all 4 stories.
Whoa. So your first night, did you get down with anyone?
Yeah, quite a few.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fantasies fulfilled.
Even though you
Really?
went in being like, yeah,
I had
think
no
so.
idea how I was gonna, because I had like group play before, but I had no idea how I was gonna react in such a large environment, and so I didn't want to have any pressure or expectations, and just like see how the night went. Like worst case, I had quite a bit of champagne and quite a bit of cannabis with me, so either way, I was gonna have a good time.
Yeah.
So and I like. I had no idea what to wear.
Yeah, what did you wear? That's literally the first thing I thought.
Yeah.
It was like on my lips.
Okay,
to
so-
I
have.
wore a Victoria's Secret's like black and blue, like kind of strappy bra and panty set. And then I wore like a sheer top over it. And then I wore pants. And so when the pants came off, then the sheer top kind of covered like enough that it like looked kind of sexy, but it wasn't, it looked sexy and conservative, but like not conservative because you could still see everything. And then eventually like the bra came off, and then I was just wearing the top and the panties, and I enjoyed that. Now when I go, I have like a steady outfit that
What
I
is it?
always wear, which is a bodysuit,
Okay.
thigh highs that come
Yeah.
up, but with a garter belt.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I wear usually like a skirt or a pant over it. And then I wear like some type of like bedazzled blazer or a top or like a fur coat or something like on top for my shoulders. And then this way, as I get hotter and like it gets more crowded, like I can take off more layers.
Yeah.
And then
Without
I
like
can
needing to
eventually-
take something off and then put something back on.
Exactly. But then and then a lot of times we also recommend, like, especially for the bigger play events, we recommend that members bring like a robe, something afterwards. Cause kind of afterwards, like
You don't
once-
want to get dressed
after
again.
a really good orgasm,
Yeah.
there is nothing better than, like, some people will call it like is a cigarette, a joint. I'm a spliff gown myself. Like everyone kind of like will walk around outside, and like we'll just be like in like kind of everyone has like different stages of like their post glow. Like sometimes you'll see like 3 people come out of a room like all windswept, and you're like welcome back, friends.
Yeah.
Like welcome back to the real world. So
no, there's nothing better than a robe.
yeah, but so the robe is always good, but I love the bodysuit because I love having my pants off, but I still like having like a top on.
Totally.
Yeah. I was actually thinking about this the other day, how like the underwear that I think I look the best in with the underwear on. Then when it's like too tight. Like,
It's
I don't
too
want-
tight,
I, like,
and
I don't
it
wanna,
leaves
I don't
all
wanna
the
take it
marks
off in
all over
front
your
of somebody.
body.
Exactly. Also, just like I wear Lululemons every day to like take off Lululemons in front of a guy. It's like
It always looks like I have like just had surgery after I take off spandex.
yeah, I have like line on
like
my
a
for my
line
tight
right up
jeans.
my
Yeah.
belly button. Do you think people like guys are generally turned on by lingerie, or they would prefer it to just not be there?
I really appreciate when a man appreciates me in lingerie. Like
I appreciate it, but I think
I
it's
love
rare
the
for a
feeling-
guy actually to give a fuck.
I love the feeling of lingerie, and I love the feeling of a man who like savors, like kisses around the lingerie. Like there's a reason, because it like a lot of the lace falls on like the erogenous areas
True.
that most men don't really normally pay attention to. So if they kind of have
Highlight it.
it's think of it as like a roadmap of like kiss along this and kiss along that.
Oh
true.
yeah, you're right.
And then I have one partner who just will tear it off, and I'm like it's not a race, like it's not like a kid on Christmas morning. I'm like, savor, like unwrap it slowly,
Yeah.
like, you know, like I'm like, and this is like the same partner who will try to like just jam it in me before like proper foreplay. I'm like,
That's so
I'm like,
interesting.
it's not gonna work because I'm like the vagina expands as you get aroused, and especially if like a man is like well endowed, like you need that time.
Right.
That time is crucial.
Well, that's interesting also that you say that about the lingerie, and that's the same guy who tries to rush going in, because like I've told Remy, I've been learning a lot about like tantra, and one of the main ideas is that you bring, it's like a like sexual, and like the energy involved is like an actual like soul energy that's a physical force, and like any other form of physical energy in physics, and it has like the law of conservation of energy as part of it. So like basically the energy that you put into like getting ready to like make love is what you like bring to the other person. So like if you put in that effort of like putting on lingerie, if that's what makes you feel beautiful, you're actually like bringing in work to the sex like already. And if that goes unappreciated, it's like kind of like having like momentum built up and then somebody just like stopping it. You know what I mean? Like the person needs to appreciate it, and they need to like put in the work and put in the respect for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Can you send me like a recording of that? And I'm going to like when someone doesn't do foreplay on me, I'm gonna be like, I'm not even gonna explain
They're
this to you.
fucking it up.
Someone else is
It
gonna
actually,
explain this to you.
no, it
Yeah.
made a lot more sense to me reading that because I'm like a science person, and like I don't know, it's just like this book that I read. It was like it kind of said also like even in terms of if you're a couple, if you move in together, you take away a lot of the tantric energy automatically because the energy that you needed to do before as a couple to make love, part of it was like your commute. And now like that's gone. So you have to make sure to put in energy in another way. Like that's going to come out. Like your partner will feel that, you know?
Betsy and I were talking about this yesterday in the car on the way over. Like, she's like, you have to read this book. And it's
What's
like,
the book called?
The book is just called Tantra, I think, but it's like a modern like interpretation of the old like 1,000-year-old text. It's kind of just like explains it in a modern context. It's really good.
I'll get the book title, like the link or whatever
Yeah,
from
definitely.
you, and then we can post it on the Facebook page or
I
something.
just got it from my parents' apartment one time. My mom's a sex therapist, and I was like gonna take the train, and my phone was dead, and I like needed something to read, so I just took one of my mom's like many sex books and like ended up like reading it all the way.
Yeah.
It's good.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, and she was saying to me like that coming together, like, you know how at the end of in movies, like in every sex scene, it's like, I'm coming or whatever, and people do it together.
They like emphasize that as being important.
Is a very Western thing
Right.
that we've emphasized.
So can I tell you?
Yeah.
So like the other thing about the whole tantra idea is that like, so there's a real like goddess energy in every woman.
I believe that.
Yeah, and so like when you have your sexual like tantric energy, it's not really about like sexuality. Tantra is really just about like kindness and like love and so basically when a woman has an orgasm, she actually is like creating more of that tantric energy. But when a guy has one, they're just like getting rid of it all. Like that's why guys get tired and introverted and like boring and lazy after they come. And women
And we
generally
get
like can go
energized.
again, want to hang out more, want to talk. And that's why like this like book, it's like talking about the old texts, and in the old text it says like a guy should come like as little as possible, like maybe a little bit more often in the spring, but like because they'll like they also like totally think that like as you get older, you know how guys get like less virile, they like in the old days, like in the old like tantra world, thought that this was because like he had come too many times in his life, and like if you like limited it more, you would have more energy. And it's just like, to me it's true that I think like we put too much emphasis on the like male orgasm just because it's like a weird like kind of like it ends everything. When the woman comes, it doesn't have to end.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so make sure that the woman does as many times as she possibly can. Because
Then
the
when
second
she's
the
tired,
guys-
then the guy
yeah,
can come.
and then you're both
That's it.
tired together, and that's.
But you don't have
what
to come together. Like
yeah.
you just like you can come as many times as you want as a woman. That should be
You like
like
that, Melissa?
No, I honestly, I have one partner who's like, I mean, and like I do love a good orgasm denial.
I'm assuming you're polyamorous, right?
Well, I don't really know how to answer that question
Okay.
because I don't really date.
Okay.
So I don't really have time for it right now.
Okay.
I have an empire to build and like a presidency to run
Okay,
for. So
fair.
so you're single.
yeah,
Yeah.
so,
So you're just
so
single
I'm
and
single, but I have
Beg.
I do
have
like
regulars.
I have regular partners. Yes.
A rotation, if you will.
I do have the rotation. I have certain ones for certain times of the month and things like that. Absolutely. But I have one partner who does like orgasms now, and I love it to an extent. But I'm also like, well, at a certain point, like I need to keep coming because like
Wait, he does orgasm denial for you?
yes,
Okay.
for me, which I do like. But also it's like once you like I could keep coming. Like I haven't. Like after a while, I'll be like, okay, I have like maybe one or two left in me, but like I can keep going.
I was worried at my first one because I was like, wait, I'm not done. Like I decided that I was done. Like I'd had a feeling, but I was like, okay, I'm finished doing this. But I was like, wait, because I didn't.
She thought she was gonna be tired and drained and depleted like the way guys are in the movies.
Oh no
Yeah,
no
and then-
no.
And she texted me like, I don't think I really had one because I'm like, I feel like more horny and more awake. And I was like, no, that's the normal. That's a good
you
one.
Gotta you can keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going. Yeah.
I've been like confused whether I'm like, am I squirting or peeing? And like, I literally
So
like
cool.
sniff my bed for like 45
Oh my
minutes
God.
after to be like, is this? But I think, and I was talking about this with Lola last night. She's like, who cares? What's the difference?
I think
She's
that
like,
actually
yeah.
is what squirting is a little bit.
It is.
So
it's
it
diluted
depends, and
pee,
it's for
but
different
but it's
things for
fine.
different
Yeah.
women. There is a study on female squirting, and like in some of it, there's presence of urine, and some of it it's not. And so, It's not like
Who
it's
cares?
different things for different people, and at
But
the
it
end of the
doesn't
day, like
smell.
every man I've ever squirted with is like patting themselves on the back. They don't give
Yeah.
a fuck what it is.
No.
They literally don't give a fuck. They're like,
I've
I'm
never.
If you just think about the consistency of squirting versus viscous cum, like man cum, like why would we be embarrassed?
it-
Like
it
it's like
dries
literally
so-
liquid
it
and
dries
it doesn't
quickly.
stain.
No
and
one
it
ever thought
doesn't
of it being
crack your
embarrassed. The fact that we're
sheets.
even discussing this is like so female. Like no one suggested that it's embarrassing. It's
A
not.
lot of
I
people
don't think it's
suggested it's
embarrassing.
embarrassing.
No, I know, but I'm saying like it just the idea's out there that it's like a given that it's embarrassing, but that's insane. It's like
That's
exactly what you said.
insane.
No guy has ever been like, I mean, and then I jizzed,
And then I jizzed and oh
Yeah.
my god.
and I like hope it was like I like sniffed it to make sure it was like jizz. Like it's like come
They
on.
literally jizz on our face. They're
Yeah.
like, look at it.
They
But like I'll like pee and like make sure I'm like, okay, you have peed. All right, now it's time to masturbate. And then I'm like, oh, magically refilled my
so it
bladder.
happens to you every time. You always squirt?
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing? She never had an orgasm before, and now
And
she's
now
like
you're
the
always
best
squirting?
at it. Yeah.
So Lola
insane.
swears by the suction of like
Yeah.
she doesn't she loves the Satisfier.
Right. Her and I have this
I'm
mean,
sure you
debate
guys-
going
I've also
on.
had this
Can you
conversation.
explain the suction thing? I'm sorry, we didn't really get to talk. It just literally sucks on the clit,
Yeah.
Yes.
and that's like really good for you guys. I don't think I'm. Oh, I'll try.
It's amazing.
I think
But
it's too
I'm
much
also
for me.
I'm not a vibration person.
Right.
Like you were almost gonna come from just that thing. Like I turned it up to 11.
Yeah.
Nothing happened for me. I was just
Well-
giggling. I was like, ha ha ha.
Well, that's why I wanted to ask you about the shock rubs, because I can tell you some about because we were talking a
My
little bit
other
about
my
like,
other goodie bag giveaway.
Yeah, did you?
Yeah.
Can you talk? What shock rub did you get?
I got a black. So can we just describe them for?
Yeah,
Shock rubs are
they're the original crystal sex toy, and they come in a variety of shapes, sizes, different ones for different holes. There's quite a bit of different dildos. There's ones that are more to stimulate the G spot. Was yours like in a hook, or was it like a
just like an
oblong?
beautiful oblong, yeah,
Okay,
like
yeah.
rock,
So
like something you could display in your home.
I use mine in the bathtub with like
Okay.
I also have crystals that I put up on my bath with. I put like
and it's made of a
lavender.
crystal. Like
Yeah, it's
mine's,
made of crystal.
Mine's black. So what does
Yes.
that mean? It's like onyx. Or
so
something.
the different stones have different
Yeah,
ones.
yeah.
So
There's something to like just like besides the what different type of crystal it is. Why is it that like people want to put a crystal there?
Yeah.
Like,
I only just started believing like drinking like crystal Kool-Aid. Like I only just moved to Brooklyn, only just drank the crystal Kool-Aid where I'm like, oh my god,
yeah, I'm
crystals are
not
actually
sure
good
I'm
for
on
me.
the crystal train.
I didn't think I was until because I had no intention of, I was like, there's no way I'm gonna be able to masturbate or like be able to come with a rock inside my pussy. Like that's just not gonna happen.
yeah.
One of the best orgasms I had, one of the most cleansing orgasms I had. And then another sex writer pointed out to me that after she used the heart, which is rose quartz, and one of my friends actually explained to me that rose quartz is meant to stimulate love. She said, she's like, when I had sex, I felt a lot more loving afterwards. And I was like, oddly, I just had some of the most connected sex in my life
after the crystal.
right after the crystal.
Big
I
factor,
had
too.
no idea. So I actually then I went and next time I had sex with him, I didn't use the shock rub beforehand. So
Was there a difference?
I don't know. The jury's still out because there's some other things going on, and he's a bit of a fuck boy. So who knows whether or not we'll actually like. I don't have tolerance for that. So
I love a fuck boy.
I am really
My
attracted to
thrill in
fuck
life
boys.
is a fuck boy.
But the unfortunate thing is I'm a fuck
not.
girl too. I'm known better.
yeah. But I also want to hear about your first time at your party too,
But-
because you said you had a lot of fantasies
Yeah.
fulfilled.
Yeah, so I've always had a fantasy of being in the center of attention,
Okay.
and I never thought that I could be in the center of attention, and like I was so in the center of attention, I had to turn attention away.
Okay, that's insane because she literally looks like Keira Knightley. Like how
Okay, stop
Like-
it. My ego is so big.
no, but it's insane. Like I don't understand how you wouldn't think that you. I do understand that. Like I think everybody has that feeling of insecurity.
I definitely had like my ugly duckling phases, and like my swan phase started in high school, and I still haven't peaked yet.
Hell no.
I still haven't peaked
Yeah.
yet, and I'm like waiting for it because like all the people I thought were hot in high school, like all have hens peaked, and like I go home to visit my dad for like maybe 24 hours once every 4 months, and like my phone just like the Tinder and the Bumble just like blowing up all these guys like you're so beautiful. I go, I used to think you were hot shit in high school, and now I think you're like a piece of shit.
Yeah.
So
No, it's you guys. If you're ugly in high school, get excited because life's gonna be fun.
oh yeah, I wish I could have gone back and told myself like don't worry about it at all. Everything I worried about.
I wish I could have gone back and been like, hey, you don't need to be perfectly waxed in order for somebody to want to bang you.
I'm just gonna turn that into like the sex education class that I'm gonna implement across all schools when I'm president.
Okay. I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
So you were the center of attention.
I was the center of attention.
And does that mean everybody was
There was just, it was a
watching you or
it was a
doing stuff to
huge
you?
event. So to say everyone was around me there was maybe like I was with maybe 3 to 5 partners at one time during like this like it was like in order to have the energy to continue going throughout like the night is like you kind of have to pace yourself, whereas like you can't like fuck right away because like all of a sudden like some people will stay, because have sex, you have a couple orgasms, and it's like, oh, everyone hydrate, everyone go get some whatever. Like I'm a smoker, and like that's the only drugs I really do, and like NSFW does not really promote heavy drug use, but people bring their own bud, so or whatever they want to. Everyone's responsible. So.
As long as it's like safe.
As long as everyone's responsible,
like, eat
safe,
someone's
sane,
face off
consensual.
like a meth psycho.
Yeah, it's safe, sane, and consensual. I smoke cannabis every day. It's not like this incredibly mind-altering drug where I can no longer consent when I smoke a joint. Quite the opposite. I'm like, I know exactly and when I'm stoned, like I'm more no filter where I'm just like, nah, I just don't want to fuck you.
Yeah.
So like I'm almost like better at consent. So for me, like that it's kind of.
How do you find your orgasms or sex even on like smoking versus sober? Because
I think it's like a damn waterfall afterwards.
You think smoking enhances?
I think I get so much more wet and I think it has a lot to do with not just like the CBD receptor or the cannabinoid receptors that we have in our body, which everyone has cannabinoid receptors. Mm-hmm. And also I think it does something where it kind of takes away, like cannabis for me is really great where it kind of streamlines my thoughts, like which are always normally like I have 17 things to do, I have this to worry about and this this. It kind of makes me focus on like a handful of things at one time, and like when I'm having sex it makes me focus on like one thing, which is just like
got it.
That is a huge like first step into me being able to achieve an orgasm, is being able to have a clear mind.
Yeah.
The other reason why I like cannabis is especially if there's like a scene or like I want a particular fantasy with a partner who I can express this with. That's that time to kind of sit down, share a joint, and talk about it and be like, oh, I really want to get tied up today.
I think weed is great for that. Like,
it's so important for like, I
emotions
feel bad
and-
for like the people who like don't smoke weed that have to like make it on their own when they're like single and want to hook up, like, and they're not at NSFW. Like, imagine trying to like get a guy back to your house and you don't have weed. Like,
well, there's people that drink. We were actually talking about this before.
but that's
like,
totally different.
What?
Oh, I guess to me it's like different to be like, do you want to come back and smoke a joint, or like, do you want to have a drink?
I don't know. I think it's this. I think there's like different strokes for different folks. But like Melissa and I were talking about how like your proclivity towards, weed versus alcohol versus any other drug is just like how everybody's different in like what turns them on.
Oh, absolutely.
What parts of your body, what needs to be played with.
Where like some people,
what pressure.
Like you don't like vibration, and I like, and some people don't like cannabis, and for someone who I smoke like cannabis every day, I'm like, how could you not smoke cannabis? And it's like, well, if you have panic attacks every time you smoke it, that's probably
don't do that.
Why you don't like cannabis.
Yeah.
I'm
supposed to remind me.
I forget you both are comedians. I don't have like a funny bone in my body, but I just laugh a lot. I like to
My
laugh.
boyfriend calls this podcast he's like, last time on Girls Who Laugh Like Dudes. Because I literally, like,
that's
me,
so funny.
Charlotte, anybody who's been like a regular, like, and I was like, oh, girls who laugh heartily and enjoy themselves.
Yeah. Empowered women. Are you threatened?
No, like, oh, people that like don't like hee 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 hee. We bind our feet in China.
Yeah, it's like laugh like a dude means you laugh. Also, laughter is like a metaphor of the orgasm. There's like that whole idea. That's why men are so obsessed with making women laugh.
Oh, yeah. And
because you're letting go and doing something out of your own control and like releasing a laughter energy.
Yeah, and it's why I've been always insecure to be like screaming orgasms, because my mom's always like, Remy, you laugh so loud. Like, you're just so
What if this is
loud."
all like, what if your whole orgasm thing is actually connected more to laugh shaming than vagina shaming? Like, secretly, Rem, I've always kind of thought that you must be like vagina shamed.
I was never vagina shamed. My vagina is very nice.
I didn't mean like,
I know. I was told early on my vagina tastes like strawberries. I'm like, again, like the ego.
Yeah, no, I've been told nice things.
I didn't mean by an actual person. I just meant by like society. Most women are
Oh,
ashamed of their
yes.
vaginas as children.
100%.
Because of just how
Yes.
it goes. Like,
Yes. Yeah. No. Oh, I said on episode 1 there was a guy in high school that really like fucked me up. Like, just because he would go and be like, "Oh, do you finger blast yourself?" As if that was like disgusting.
right.
You know.
Yeah.
Which is like, no. It's yeah. No, I don't like.
I don't finger blast myself. I use a $300 vibrator. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. No, I actually do something that works.
Are you guys serious? You don't finger blast yourself?
So
Not
I mean,
really.
I'll like use like some finger stimulation, but why am I gonna go through like the manual stimulation where I have something that vibrates and is aquacentric and this and that?
I think the opposite. I just think like I'm trying to challenge myself mentally. Like, if I could do it without my hands at all, can you imagine? That's possible. You could just use your brain.
Oh,
People
with like
do
tantra
that.
and all that.
Just use
just
like literally
tantra,
using
yeah.
your brain. Like, you could do it. Like, you could like get yourself all keyed up, and then like a stroke could do it if you were all keyed up.
Yeah.
But so I'm saying like that's what I try or that's where I come from with in terms of like that's the counter argument to like, why would I do this when I have this thing that is like aqua hydroponic and like vibrational?
I think you should try and do it anyway.
Just to challenge
you can.
yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except for, so my thing is with like specifically finger blasting and anything with hands. And I was talking about this with someone the other day, and they were like, a lot of reasons people use sex toys is because they don't want to be feeling their own body. It's the same reason people numb their hand
that
when they're
from
jacking
Daniel?
off.
Yeah.
Is that who it was?
I think it was me and Daniel. I had this conversation with
Yeah.
someone this week too.
Yeah, we smoke way too much weed. Okay, so we had the same conversation. I was like, yeah, it was with somebody who's like really smart. Yeah, no, so but it was like that's like, yeah, you don't want to like be touching like all of like your organs and stuff and be thinking about that. Like,
Well,
you
also,
want to.
yeah, it's like you can't tickle yourself. You need a
Totally.
stranger. My high school guy friend, told me about the lonely stranger, which was when he would like sleep on his left
Sit
hand.
on your hand, yeah.
Like his left hand specifically, because
Yeah.
he's like, it's even more unfamiliar.
Yeah. And I literally was like, I never understood a fleshlight, because I was like, what, guys have such an easy time jacking off? Oh, because it feels like someone else. It's like nice.
Yeah.
It's not.
and you squeeze it filled with like lube. Oh yeah, way better than like a lotion in a sock or your hand or anything. Absolutely.
Yeah.
What if you were like dating a guy and he had like a fleshlight installed in his shower?
I've given.
I would be like, do I not have sex with you enough? But what
Like
is
no,
your
like
se-
like let's say it's like you guys just started dating, you're taking a shower in his house for the first time, and then he had that. Like he was like, that's sort of like the question too with like if you bought a horse and had it in your living room.
Okay, yeah.
Oh wait, actually, I have a
It's
great
like you're that committed
answer
to
for that.
masturbating.
A female in my network, she's like, I need your advice on something, because when my boyfriend and I first started dating, we had sex 4 or 5 times at a time, because they weren't like, they didn't see each other as often. They were seeing each other maybe once a week. But now, so they only have sex maybe once a day, you know.
Okay.
And she's, well, I'm so horny. Like, I still want to, I want to have more
Yeah,
sex.
yeah.
So she's like, well, she's like, if he's not here, like, I'm gonna use my vibrator. And so, you know, she's open with him, and she has nothing to hide. So she like showed him when she brought it into his house, and he was like, well, that's weird. And she's like,
What?
no, you know, in her corner is like a very sex positive, female empowered woman who's like, if he like, does he really want to be like the one who is responsible for all your orgasms? Like, the only argument is that means like if he doesn't want the vibrator in the house, then he better have it like up and at attention, ready every time. She's horny. If not, then you don't get to say anything. Like, women have needs too, and like we've been so expected our whole lives to be like, when a man wants to have sex, like that's it. And it's like, okay, well, like when I want to have sex and like the guy just rolls over and is like, we'll do it in the morning, and then I never get it. It's like, you bet your ass I'm kicking you out and getting like my vibrator. I don't bring guys home, because like I would rather, like, if they're not gonna have sex with me, like I don't want them in my bed.
You do not like cuddling?
Company.
I have a cat. I have the most cuddly cat in the world,
Well,
and it's
there.
great
I feel you on that.
because
What about
I could just-
crouton? She's best snuggler.
Her dog.
Well, I mean, they're great too because like they keep like they're like they don't take up the whole bed.
No, I love sleeping with a person, but like there's nothing better than sprawling.
Yeah, I guess I don't like sleeping.
Yeah,
It's
nobody
more
likes
cuddling. But
it's
not
more cuddling.
sleeping.
Yeah,
And then when it's time to sleep, you gotta like.
go to separate beds,
Yeah.
Lucy and Ricky style.
I've got to like read a book on my phone for an hour. I like barely sleep, so that's always my problem. Is that with whatever partner it is, like I like start my life after they go to sleep, and then I'm up for like 4 hours doing really weird shit.
That's so funny.
It's really annoying for anyone I date.
Yeah. All right, we got to wrap this up. So last episode I didn't get an assignment because I was like I came and then I was just like, having fun masturbating this past 2 weeks. But I think I should take assignments because there's so much more growth than just like deciding that this one device is
Definitely.
the thing.
Well, now
So
that you
what
have,
what do you
no,
think?
you have the shock rub, so I really want you to do something with that.
Okay.
Because it, like, again, especially since you don't like vibration,
Mm-hmm.
and like I'm sure you probably have the same attitude as
Yeah.
well, where you're like, am I really gonna come with a rock in my pussy? So, I really like the spirituality of like a bath,
Okay.
and it's hard to kind of have something.
I love a tub.
I love a tub.
It's the
I love a
best.
good soak. And so get your like womanizer involved for your clitoral stimulation.
Okay.
And just like experience like the feeling of orgasming around like
with a rock.
the
inside.
rock and like
Is it
that
supposed to go
phallic
all
shape.
the way in?
Well, however much you want.
Okay.
You can
Okay.
however much you want. And then you can use the skinny end or the thicker end.
Okay.
That's like the beauty of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good. This has been a really fun conversation. The sex party was fun. I mean, like I said, we didn't see anybody bang, but people were gonna bang.
You're on my list, so
Yeah.
you'll come to more.
Yeah.
You'll come
I'll come to
to
more.
more.
Melissa, where can everybody follow you on social media?
Instagram is Melissa A. Vitale PR.
Mm-hmm.
Twitter is Melissa Vitale PR.
Mm-hmm.
And my website is melissavitalepr.com.
Okay, awesome. And Betsy Carroll, where can people find you?
My website is betsycarroll.com. That's BetsyCarroll. And my Instagram is Betsy Carroll. And my Twitter is Beatrix Carroll, which is my real name.
Yeah, it is. And you can also follow all the shows that Betsy and I run together at Our Famous Friends. We have our 2-year anniversary
Oh my
coming
God,
up
this Sunday.
on Sunday. Yeah.
Amazing.
I think that this episode is actually dropping after Bacon Bits. But if you guys ever want to come to Bacon Bits, it's my brunch show at the Stand. It's every Sunday, 3:30 to 5. We give out free bacon. And there's
Unlimited bacon.
Unlimited bacon. And there's a $20 bottomless mimosa special. It's awesome. People get really drunk.
It's the best place to get breakfast. And then there's also an awesome comedy show.
Yeah, it's the best. And yeah, and Betsy and I have another show called Gossip Girls that we do once a month. And we're going to start another one called Cruel Intentions.
Yeah!
So
Oh
yeah,
my
you can
God.
follow all our shows at Our Famous Friends. You can follow the podcast at How Come Podcast. Like I said, we do really fun polls every day. I'm at Remy Casimir everywhere. And yeah, I just have to ask this at the end of every episode to be courteous. Melissa, did you finish?
I did.
Yes. Betsy, how about you? Did you finish?
Of course. Always.
All right. Well, thank you guys for coming.
Woohoo. Thanks for having us.
And we'll see you next time on How Come.
It's not you, it's me. I try so hard to finish honestly. They say you'll know when you go all the way from A right down to O. Oh no, I think that I still got a ways to go. Oh, I'm sick of this and I have got to know. How come? How come? How come I can't achieve? How come I can't achieve? I'm rolling up my sleeves. I'm rolling up my sleeves. Oh baby, I believe these guests can help. 'Cause I can't do it by myself. I wanna jizz.
He sleeps like he's dead after I'm done with him.
Sick.
He has
In the
no idea that
rotation.
I'm having this conversation about him.
Yeah.
either. Actually, last I heard about him, he was like flirting with some other girl on Facebook. So
Mm.
my friend sent me a screenshot on the way over.
Don't love that.
That's the last you heard. It was like really recent.
It literally,
Wait.
no, it was while we were
guys-
smoking a joint. He sent me a screenshot.
What, Rem?
Speaking of screenshots, and I need to talk to you guys about this week. Okay, so you know that I do a lot of like polls on the Instagram.
Yeah,
like,
I love them.
At How Come Podcast. If you guys aren't following along, like the Instagram polls are really fun, and usually I'll have like like articles that we post and talk about. But the other day I had a story during the blizzard that was keeping everyone like I was freaking out. It was insane. Essentially, somebody sent me a text of their chest, a number that I don't know, chest, and then like, hey sexy, like last night was great, like look forward to seeing you again, XO. Like
This was not today, right? This was like
this was 2 days ago.
okay. I was like, this would make sense after an NSFW event.
No. So like 2 days ago. So sorry, like I meant to send that to somebody else. We met at an event the other night and like ended up hooking up. Like I'm sorry or whatever. So I was like, okay, I want to do like some investigation for the podcast. Like this guy, he's got a great chest. Like he's clearly like had like a tryst with a girl. Like I want to like decipher like what his text, like, is he trying to date her? Is he just trying to hook up? So I'm like, hey, like me and my girlfriends are wondering like about like your night or whatever. I wanted him to tell us about his night, and I wanted to see like, like now that he doesn't have this girl's number, like, just talk to some of us. So, like, what is he going to do? What's, so we're talking to him or I'm talking to him as if I'm with a bunch of people, and he immediately launches into, how they fucked and like, all this stuff. He's like, I abused her pussy with my tongue, and like we played this game where I got to lick a shot off her tits every time she came, and like da da da. And I'm like, oh my God, like this is so explicit. And so I'm like asking people in the polls, like, do you guys like this? Whatever. And then all these people start writing in, and girls are like, wait, I received the same exact text from different numbers. And there are like, this is apparently a thing. A scam. That
I watch a lot of Criminal Minds. This is fascinating.
I don't know if guys are doing it, if it's like this.
You
like,
evaded a serial killer,
right?
Holy fuck!
Like
you could have died.
And the thing is when he first
Podcast's dead.
Yeah, no. When he first started like chatting, I was like, oh, if I was like a single girl, and he sent his a photo of his quote unquote face or whatever. Hi, I'm Matthew. Is this a girl I'm talking to at least or whatever? And you guys can see I archived this whole conversation. It was a Instagram story, and it's archived under the saga, so you can literally click through and see all of the stuff that he was saying to me, and like the correspondence and the other girls who have gotten the same messages. So
were you the only girl who responded back?
No, a lot of girls
responded back to a random number being like,
yeah, because the body is cute, the face is cute. So a lot of people wrote in, and we have two theories. Either it's one guy who's sending it, or it's just a thing that guys are doing to bait girls for nudes. Because like when I started talking to him, I initially was like, oh, this,
because you want to see all the way down,
right? No,
hell yeah.
So it was like, no, I mean, not me, but I'm saying a girl would want
but
to.
most women would.
Yeah, and like I was thinking even like, oh, this is like a meet cute, like somebody accidentally sends your number, like if I like it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And I sent a selfie so that he like knew it was.
You did?
Yeah, just because I wanted to like.
Keep
him telling us information and stuff. And yeah, like it was completely harmless on my end. Every step of the way, I'm like, I have a boyfriend. I just want to hear this, like, because like I'm with a bunch of girls, like, and it kept being
Me
like,
and my girlfriends are just chatting. And
yeah,
like,
we're just chatting,
we're, like, naked and having a pillow fight, and we're just like talking about you sexy beast. Like,
I guess so. No, but it was like, and then like he obviously was like, yeah, like I can send you like a dick pic, and
Yeah, and we'll send you all our vaginas lined up along with all of our tits together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So apparently this is a thing, and you guys, if anyone texts you a picture of their chest and then something being like, hey, last night was great, and then like a little XO, it's like a perfectly worded thing, so it makes it seem like the guy is chivalrous. It means like he's
like,
messaging
like
the girl the next
text.
day. It's like a good morning. It's sweet.
That's
like
millennial fairy tales.
I almost was like, oh my God, she's the one that got away. Like I was like asking him, I was like, oh my God, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna try and find her on LinkedIn? And like before I knew it was like a scam.
Craigslist misconnections.
Yeah.
Like everything.
Yeah.
That's so funny. When so I've played this game that me and my friends made up in the car many times where we're like choose one of our numbers, like our actual cell phone numbers, and then we'll like send a text to every like possible variation of like my number. Like my number, I'll give it and I'll change one number each time.
Okay.
Send this text and it will say something like, hey, so sorry about the spaghetti incident last night. I'd love to catch up about it. Like, just something completely random. And then you get a text back and you have like, so it's like a thing you do to pass time in the car is like start a missed conversation with someone and then be like, so then they'll normally text back and be like, this is the wrong number. And then you could text back and be like, okay, cool. But anyways, can I run this situation by you? And then like, just keep making it up. It's like a fun game.
That's
I wonder if that's like
hilarious.
the sort of thing that this is
But,
a
like, for
harmless
nudes-
prank.
I think it's just for nudes.
Okay,
one
but
of my,
here's the thing.
One of my friends
There's
and
nudes
he was
everywhere.
like,
It would be a really inefficient way to get nudes. I bet there's a darker scam. Like maybe it's for like blackmail. Like maybe they're
Yeah.
getting,
Or, like sex trafficking.
yeah, like, or
Oh.
maybe
Again, I watch a lot of Criminal Minds.
it could be just something bad. Just don't feed into it, you guys.
the
Like,
reason I think
really
it's bad. Yeah, it's like, I mean, they could get nudes of hot girl. Like they don't know who they're texting sometimes. So like they don't know what kind of good nudes they're going to get unless there's no advantage to getting a stranger's nudes unless your goal is to then be like, now I have your nudes. I'm going to extort you.
Yeah.
Or
Like,
maybe it's just like one of those like text farms where it like sends out like 400 texts and of like the one that's coming out of it. It's like
yeah, it's really
You're the-
weird. If
you're the
anybody
girl.
has information on this shit, just like write in and like tell me stuff. I like literally wrote to Catfish because I'm trying to figure out like it's a strange scam.
You're
I mean,
like the
it's
equivalent of like the person who responds to the Nigerian prince and like gets really into like
Just-
and now we're next thing you know we're friends.
yeah, totally.